Welcome back, Nerdiverse, to another star-studded episode of MOTN Top 10, where we take a look at things that are living within the Nerdiverse. And the best podcast award goes to Masters of the
Ooh.
Nerdiverse podcast. I actually have react noises that I literally never use, but I think we got some going right now. Yes, yes. First, I'd like to thank God. First, I would like to thank God for just being there and watching over us. Anywho, I'm of course master of the Nerdiverse, Mike G, and with me as always is best actor in a supporting role. Oscar goes to Wash. What's going on, sir?
What is going on, man? We are back. I'm excited to be here. It looks like it may be Oscar season here on the M Nerdiverse podcast, which we haven't
Woo!
had an Oscar season happen. And I know for
No,
some of you out there, you're like, but didn't the Oscars happen? Well, we're
yeah,
pulling you back in. We're
you
gonna
thought you were
pull you
done.
back in.
Pull
Yeah.
you back the fuck in, dude.
Let's
You,
talk some good stuff. And for real, hashtag hard cuts.
ooh, for you? Hashtag hard cuts. Mine just
Dude,
kind of boop. I literally did mine in
man,
5 minutes, man. It was crazy.
man, hashtag hard cuts. I actually have a new appreciation for like the Oscar, like not like the people, but more the historians of it all who have to
Yeah,
talk about this type of thing on a daily basis. And it's like, how do you pick? It's like Batman or Superman.
yeah. You're
Eh,
picking your children at some point.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
really based upon how you feel that day. And my list can be shuffled any kind of which way, depending on how I feel. So this is like I'm not gonna date this episode, but this is right now Mike G's top five. Now these may shift around, but this is how I feel today. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and I think that that's a fair statement when I think about this list and as I've been reflecting on like my choices. And I'm not sure if we dive right in or if we have like an intro lead or anything of that nature, but when I was thinking about it and had to put together my list, ultimately as I had, my grouping of let's just say 18 movies, I was like, like how am I going to do this? And ultimately it came down to like a couple of things. It's like,
Mm.
what do I own? What's in my
Or
personal
yeah, that's a
collection?
very good.
Like,
Yeah,
because I don't, even back in the day, I didn't just buy movies. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want it, why spend money on it? So, it really came down to what do I want to watch today, not what does little Brian like? What does younger
hmm,
Brian like? Because nostalgia did play a little bit of a role into this type of thing. And I tried hard to just kind of put that aside, I think, because you can get caught up in all that, and I feel bad. Even right now, we haven't even done the thing, and I feel bad for like the order, the list, the people we left off, things of that nature. So yeah, I think it was fun. I think it was fun. I could do a best actress, actor. I could go down this little bit of a rabbit hole because Lord knows there's just a lot of films I haven't thought about in a minute.
I love best screenplay. I've always been a best screenplay
Mm,
guy. It's very interesting how sometimes a film can have best screenplay and not have best picture. Usually those are married together, but not always. You know what I
not
mean?
always.
When I was
Isn't it
doing
like
this, mhm,
best adapted screenplay as
best
well?
adapted screenplay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, yeah. But when you were doing this, go on.
Yeah, yeah, different category. Like the Oscars are getting more and more specific, which is good because everybody deserves their flowers. You know what I'm saying? Um, I was when I was doing this list, it made me think of what the Oscars meant to me as a nerd, right? Like thinking back of the old Oscars, I remember there was a time where watching the Oscars was cool, right? This was before TMZ, and we got to see these people eating lunch at a Starbucks, and you just see your stars all the time. Back in the day, you just saw them on the screen. You never saw them unless you just ran into them at the Chinese theater or something. So when Oscar time came around, you got to see
Yeah.
these people outside of what you are known for and see them be people for a little bit. You know what I mean? And cool things used to happen at the Oscars. Remember, was it didn't like a T-Rex show up at the Jurassic Park year of the Oscars or something crazy like that?
Dude, I mean, that's another best Oscar moments like that. That's another
Yeah.
because they've had some great stuff on stage that they've done, and I forgot all about that till you mentioned it, and I'm like, oh yeah, they did do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, remember Whitney Houston, rest in peace, and Mariah Carey singing the Kings of Egypt song, like, on stage for the first time ever, like, in the '90s, just, like, classic, like, the Lion King performance, it's
Yeah.
classic stuff, right? And I was coming up with this list, and like I said, you gotta be thorough. So you pull up the entire list from the very first Oscars all the way to the current winner, and you kind of just have to just go down the list. And there were some hard cuts for me a little bit. For the most part, I think my heart was like you said, very good point. Well, would I still watch a little bit of remember berries in there as well? And at the end of the day, what's just a good movie? You know what I mean? It was just a good film, you know what I mean? Like, to stand alone, you can watch it until the end of time. So, all those factored into my decisions on my top 5. Like I said, this is a liquid list. It can really go around, but as of today, this is my list and I'm sticking to it, you know what I mean?
Let me ask you, because you said you did your list relatively quickly. I don't know when that was done, so maybe you haven't had time yet. But do you notice any trends in your list across any general themes that
Ooh.
if I didn't know Mike G and I saw that these were your top five, is there anything that you might be able to take away and go, yeah, I mean, I hadn't considered it, but it's there.
Now that you say it, if you look at my list, you will know exactly who I am as a person. Like, deep down, like, it's kinda crazy. Like, my 5 spread kind of hits all the little subtle parts of me that I don't tell people. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see as my list unfolds, "Oh, okay, this is super a Mike G list." Not saying that it's turbo nerdy. It just taps into the subtle nuances of who I am, and it's just now that you say that, it's very telling.
And I think that that's important to say as we talk about like the top 10 best picture Oscar winners in our opinion. Like these are best pictures. They are
Yeah.
meant to pull at some point of you. These are not just some back alley films that like someone threw together. It's like, oh, you like it? Yeah, I like it. No, these are really like impactful type of films for whoever enjoys them and considers them their best pictures, which I know a lot of people who like a lot of these films as far as just the Oscar winners go. So I think it's funny that you say that, someone will know you and things you don't tell people about you just by this list. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it really talks to the inner cinemaphile of me, right? Like, okay, past the granular, nerdy stuff. What's Michael really like outside
Yeah.
of that? You can glean a lot from me just by the choices on this list, and that's a very interesting point in regards to you know um, the history of the Oscars. You mentioned like the history of this event, and these are and there you go. I found my point. You noted these are the best of the best. There's no wrong answers for this list. You know what I'm saying? There are some Oscar winners where some would put asterisks on certain movies because this other movie should have won. But I mean, hey,
And again, you're splitting
you're
hairs. You
splitting
know what I
hairs.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, I don't know what to
Patrick
tell you.
Mahomes is playing Tom Brady, but Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes lost. It's like, oh,
Oh, Patrick should have won that year. I'm sure he should have. But you know what? If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, right? So
dude, someone's got to lose. So,
someone's got to lose.
the other thing I will add because I'm just going to say we don't, you don't do um, nominate or best
Honorable
honorable
mentions.
mentions.
Yeah.
There was one movie that I reference all the time, but I couldn't I can never remember the name of it in the moment. There's
There
one
you
movie
go.
on this list I never want to see ever again, and that is Crash. I saw Crash one time. It
Yeah.
made me extremely uncomfortable, and I'm
Yeah.
good. So when you talk about best picture films, that's I'm not going to call it an honorable mention. I'm going to call it it's a film. I don't want
It's
to see it again.
it's a dishonorable mention.
It's a film. So
It's
I
one of
was
the
like,
movies of all time.
that one best picture, huh?
Hey,
Wow, that was
that was a
gnarly
very
year, huh?
wasn't that like 9/11? Wasn't that like oh, we were all going
like,
through it, though. Wasn't that like a rough
damn,
year?
damn.
Oh, geez,
Mm,
where were we at where that one, bro?
I-
Man, we ready to get into this list, man. I know a lot of people are probably wondering, what is up? And I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot about you by your list because there were some surprises on here that I was like, what? Okay,
Oh, well,
let's
that's
talk about it.
interesting.
Let's talk about
That's
it.
interesting. Yeah, there were some hard cuts, man. There were some hard cuts, but I don't. Yeah, maybe one or two. Like again, picking that one was rough. Like that took me 2 full days to target in on. So
Number one,
still
dude.
don't feel
Before
good about it.
still don't feel good about it. That's how you know it's a hashtag hard cuts, bro. Ah, if you before we jump into this list, if you like the channel, please subscribe to Master Nerdiverse on YouTube, on Spotify. Please leave us a like if you like the content and comment. What after you listen to this? What should have been on the list? What did we miss out? Hashtag hard cuts. We're not going to argue with you, but we might argue with you. I don't know. It depends. You put something crazy on there, I'm gonna look at you kind of crazy though.
I'm sure there are going to be some folks that are like, what are you talking about? What are you talking
What?
about?" So you
Plebby.
bring it. That's
So
fine.
bring it. I stand by
That's
my
what
list.
happens.
I don't
Best
give a
of the best,
damn.
man. There's
Best of the
only
best.
and I'll say that dang it, I forgot the number already, but I think we're at like 92, 93 Oscar winners in total. I have
Mhm.
not watched 35 of these films, to be fair.
That
And
factored in
to
a lot into my choices. It's like, didn't see it. I can't like I don't want to be the cool guy and put the movie that I didn't see. That's so disingenuous. So it's like if I didn't see it, it can't be one of my favorites, right?
I,
Moving on. It's as simple as
it's
that.
hard to do. So yeah, they were mostly like the first
The
front.
first
You know what I mean?
1910,
Well, yeah, it's like I'm
1933.
not even going back to see it, but I have seen some of those films. But 35 is a number that probably should be lightened up a little bit. Some of them I just frankly don't want to see, and
That part
those
too.
may be recent.
Yeah. A lot of those are recent. I don't have time for that. A lot of them are recent. They don't make movies like that used to anymore. Back in my day, don't get us started, bro. God, we're already in trouble. We're already in trouble,
We're
bro.
gonna get in trouble, bro.
We're gonna get in
Like
trouble,
we're gonna get
bro.
in trouble,
Oh
bro.
no. They're gonna yell at us again.
Yes, they are.
Gosh. All right, let's start with your number five, bro. You ready to hit your number five?
Let's do it.
Number five from Wash, 1984. Some would say the best year on God's green earth. Don't ask me why that's the best year of all time. It just happens to be. Wash chose the man, the music, the madness, the murder, the motion picture. Amadeus, bro. Yeah, Amadeus. Rocky
Yes, dude.
Amadeus. Talk
Freaking
to me
rock
about
the
it.
damn Amadeus, bro. And 1984, I think it's like Back to the Future, right? That's
Yeah,
the
that was the Back
reason.
to the Future year, bro.
I
And
think
yeah,
that's yeah, I think that's the reason it's the best year of all time. So
yeah.
anyway, and this movie was made. I saw Amadeus as a young chap, and it
Mhm.
stayed with me. And when I talk about what's in my personal collection, this is a movie that is in my personal collection that I have been dragging around with me for 2 decades minimum, if not longer. Why is Amadeus amazing? And if you have not seen it, um, I guess I'll get to that. But what Amadeus is about, it's a fictional, not real life biopic. It is a fictional portrayal of
Fictional
Mozart
character.
and fictional um, portrayal of Mozart's life with Salieri.
Salivary.
Salieri.
Yeah,
Dang it.
Saleri and
Salieri. Anyway,
Antonio Saleri.
I'm gonna murder it once or twice. So
That's
anyway,
fine.
for me, when I saw this movie, like first off, I I as I was researching and getting back in Amadeus, as soon as I started watching clips, which there are very few of on YouTube, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, they're like, "Yeah, you can't you go watch the movie."
Just watch it.
Um, Dude, I have been in all elements of theater, musical theater, played a little bit of saxophone back in the day. I've never been an opera guy. This is
Mhm.
the closest thing to opera that has ever grabbed me. And even now, when I was going back through it, the music is so beautiful in this freaking movie. It takes you right in. And the story of the jealousy, the bitterness that one man has for someone who is so extremely talented. I could imagine back in the day there were people who really just did not like Mozart. Mozart
Yeah.
came out of
He was
he's
like
like a
Kanye,
Patrick
bro.
Mahomes.
He
He's
was like
like
Kanye.
Kanye. Yep,
He
he's
just
like
showed
Kanye.
up.
He's like
Who
what?
is this
How are
guy,
you?
dude?
And he's explaining to you how A plus C equals D plus, and
Yeah,
you're going, "What? I don't understand any of the words you said." And he's like, "Keep up, bro. Like keep
keep
up."
up.
And you're too slow. And so I think this is a close to 3 hour long movie. It does a fantastic job of of taking a time period which is so far gone from where we are today
Yeah,
and transporting you into the position of understanding just the pure jealousy that that one must have for something so great. And the greatness comes with Mozart because this music, the score, he's doing the thing, opera. So you have this just this large production that is hard to pull off. They've never made an Amadeus 2. They've never said, hey, you know what? Let's remake Amadeus.
they
No
just
one is trying
did.
to
They're just
did
now
they?
doing it with Paul
Oh,
Bettany.
oh
They just announced it.
I
It's
have not
crazy.
heard that yet. That's
Look it
freaking
up. Look it
amazing.
up.
That's
That's
amazing.
crazy. Yeah,
Um So overall, when I took my list, I couldn't leave this off. And
yeah,
uh, towards the end of the film, and I certainly don't want to spoil it for anyone because I'm sure many people haven't watched it. Um, like like the lengths that this man goes, Salieri, to to kill Mozart essentially, and the desperation that Mozart is in because he's so brilliant and so talented, but yet, like all mad scientists, has poor life skills, let's
yeah.
just
Just
say.
doesn't function outside of his
You
talent. You know what I
know
mean?
what I mean? I don't know what it's called, but yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic film. I cannot say enough good things about it. I just wish I could speak on it a tad bit more intelligently, such as like directors and producers, but it's a tad bit before my time in that aspect. And frankly, it is a desert island movie for me. It is one that I was
Wow.
on the
Yeah.
list and I was like, no, this is something that I would absolutely watch today. In fact, as I was watching clips, I'm like, I want to watch this movie. Here is something that you will see throughout all of my movies. All my movies are like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
You lock in.
for whatever reason, they're all like journeys. And so thus, it's hard to pick up an Amadeus. I was trying to figure out when is a good time to watch Amadeus. You got to be
Just
with
no.
the
You
real
have to
right
make
crew.
time, bro.
You
Yeah.
got to be with the right crew. But
Yeah.
honestly, if I'm flipping through the channels and it's a Saturday afternoon and I see Amadeus on CBS like back in the day, I'm stopping. I'm going to
Yeah.
watch it. So, Mike,
Easy
my
peasy.
question to you, have you
Yeah.
seen Amadeus?
I have a very funny story about this particular movie, this particular poster. When I was a kid, uh, back in the movie rental days, you go to your favorite, not this before Blockbuster, right? Where the movie rental places had the weird little back room with the curtain that you couldn't go back to. You know what I'm saying? Little the no corner, dog. Your dad will hem you up. Where you going? What the hell's wrong with you? uh I would see this box on the shelf, and as a little kid I thought it was a horror movie because it looks kind of scary. It's some ominous looking dude over the CD. I thought it was some Nosferatu junk. So I'll always ask my mom, I want to see that. No, you don't want to see that. That's Amadeus. You don't want to see that. Mom, it looks cool. I just want to see it. No, I'm not wasting money when you don't watch it and you run off somewhere. Now I gotta watch Amadeus. So funny enough, this was one of those movies that I always asked my mom to see because I had no idea what it was. I'm like 7. I don't know what who Amadeus Mozart is the Wolfgang, but it always looked
No, don't
cool.
know what an Amadeus of Mozart is. You're like, whatever.
I'm
Oh,
like, I just know it looks cool. I know the dude has like an infinite in his brain, and he's overlooking the city. And I thought, I was like, this has got to be dope. Nah, mom never let me watch it. So I know of it, but I've never seen it. I've never, ever, ever seen it.
ooh,
So this is one of those. I'm gonna be stealing a lot of your movies for movie night because I need to watch
ooh.
this
I
specifically because it scratches that part of my brain that I can never scratch.
Bro, you're gonna watch this and you're gonna be like, "Oh, I get what he was talking about," and you're gonna lock
Yeah,
in
I love
because
it.
it's not about the music, it's not about Mozart, it's about bitterness. It's
It's like
about
how
one
just how
dude just
salty could one man
pure,
be?
yeah, dude, he's just so damn salty, man, and it's great. It's fantastic. Oh man, please watch this. Let me know how
Yes,
you
this is
like it.
on the list. I saw this when you put it up, and I was like, I was like, oh my god, I remember this so much. Why have I
Yeah.
never seen this? Why have I never seen? Oh yeah, mom said no.
I
Because she
have
knew
the
hmm?
2 disc special version in the bedroom, bro. And I
Criterion
did want to
edition and all
say
that good stuff.
eight Oscars won on Amadeus, so uh,
Oh,
relatively healthy.
I should have listed that. That's a good list. That's a good list. Oh, you ready for my number five, which is weirdly akin to what you're
I
talking about?
am, I am
Number
stoked.
five, 1961, The West Side Story, dude. Two gangsters from Ravel, New York street gangs fall in love, but tensions between respective friends build toward tragedy. Um, this movie was so influential in my upbringing because it was on all the time. My father, shout outs Mike Prime, would never stop watching this. He loved this movie, so it was just one of those movies where the soundtrack was constantly going on in the house. When you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. You know, it's instilled into your DNA, right? But when I got older, and then I realized, damn it, Dad, you made me a theater kid without even asking me. You know,
Right.
I watched it on my own as an adult, and I was just like, this is a beautifully shot movie from the dancing to what is quintessentially Romeo and Juliet. Let's just call it. This is a play on Romeo and Juliet. The Sharks versus the Jets, Maria, the whole thing. And I just absolutely adore this movie from I've always wanted to be a shark because my dad was a jet. When my dad was in high school, way back in the day, he did the one of the only theater things he ever did was a play. He actually did West Side Story in high school as a kid, and he would never shut up about it. He would tell me all the time I was a jet and I was badass and I had the little knife and everything. I was like, that's pretty cool. Um, I listen to the soundtrack in the car, bro. Like, I watch this every once in a while. I'll just put it on and just have it on in the background. Um, and it's just so inspirational to me because this opened the door to a little shop of horrors. This opened the door to Phantom and moving on to the future things like Hamilton. When I was telling you like certain things you don't know about me unless you ask. I'm a theater guy at heart, but it's just something you never talk about, right? So I put this at my number five because I could not have it on my list because this is just one of those things, like you said, a desert island movie. Like I could watch this over and over and over again and never get tired of it. West Side Story, bro. It's so good.
Excellent pick, and honestly, I'm right there with you. It was my intro into theater, musical theater. I wanted to do West Side Story. In fact, if there was
Yeah.
one thing that would get me out of retirement from theater and musical theater, it would be was if someone came to me and was like, "Yeah, dude, we're doing West Side Story. We want you in it." I'm gonna have to do it
Bet
because
we're in it.
I'm singing West Side Story pretty much every day. Like
Yeah.
mostly boy, crazy boy.
Boy,
And
boy, boy,
so
crazy
freaking
boy.
awesome.
So crazy.
Boy,
I
crazy.
could
Yeah,
say, who hasn't walked down the street snapping like,
yeah,
It's the coolest thing ever,
Sometimes
dude.
I do it in LA. I would do it just to see if anybody noticed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And no
1000%.
one, no one ever did. And I was
Yeah,
like, that's so sad. But anyway, I am a huge West Side Story fan, and the only reason this movie did not make my list, this is one that I feel bad about to this moment because I love this movie. Is do I want to watch it today?
I feel you. I feel you. I
Man,
hated the remake. I hated the remake.
I didn't watch the
I
remake
watched it
because
out of
I
curiosity because this is like one of my best favorite things. You know,
it wasn't
like
good, huh?
no, it's like West Side Story to me is in the same boat as like I Love Lucy and Gilligan's Island
Uh,
and Bonanza. It's just like it was on, and you have no choice but to love. You will love this, and then as an adult, it's like I don't have to love that, and then it's like no, you love it, bro. You love this with all your
yeah,
heart. Yeah, West Side Story is one of the best top five musicals of all time in my book, and especially
easy.
top five. Oscar Best Picture winner. When was the last time a musical won the Best Picture? You know what I'm saying?
It was Chicago
Was it
because we
Chicago?
saw that it was
Yeah.
Chicago and Chicago's fan freaking tastic.
Yes, it
Because I
is.
did notice there's a ton of musicals on here. All of them I've seen. Some of them I don't like especially. But Chicago I loved, and yeah, West Side Story outranked Chicago for me in a heartbeat.
Me,
Like
me dos.
we aren't even
No,
like it's not even a discussion. And I love
West
Chicago.
Side is up there with like Phantom, bro. I mean,
It's
like Epic should be
epic.
on a time capsule somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
It's a thing I'd go to Broadway, pay live, like how
I'll
much
get
for a
dressed.
ticket? Yeah, all
Okay,
right,
I'll
whatever.
wear a tux for West
Yeah,
Side, bro. Don't
yeah,
play
bro.
with me.
I'm in.
Ready for number four?
Yes, sir.
Number four, four,
This is
four.
me.
Every man dies. Not every man really lives. 1995. Come get a taste. Braveheart, bro. Talk about it, man. This movie.
Look, this and on this nerdiverse, like again, we talk about some things here that just kind of get to me because it's like, damn, man, Mel Gibson, why are you such an a-hole? Bro,
Uh,
I just want to be a fan. I want to
don't
talk about you. You got good stuff to
don't
do,
meet your
but
heroes, bro.
right, but you're kind of an a-hole, bro. So like,
Yeah.
what can I do? And so hey, your best picture, and it's like you want me to leave off Braveheart? I can't leave off Braveheart. You want to know why? Fun fact about Brian.
What's up?
This is the only real true movie I've been in the theater at and was like sobbing at the end of this thing. I
Beautiful,
was
man.
flat out freaking
Just weeping.
sobbing at the end of it. Dude, the
Freedom!
napkin comes out. I'm like, oh God,
What is this
fuck
salty
me. I'm,
discharge coming
I'm
from my
with my
face?
boys. Like I think we're like 16, 17. We just got our license.
Yeah.
They're going to watch
Jack
Braveheart.
you
No,
up,
three of
dude.
us are just messes,
Man
man,
tears, dog. Just oh my
just
god.
messes. And it's like everything about this movie, it 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 it's one of the reasons, I walk around the house and I'm like yelling to no one, Jordan, we will guard the barriers today. You know what I mean? And it's like you're yelling at the cat. It's like because of Braveheart, I do
Yeah.
this. There have been many, many films that do the big epic battle scenes. None that were quite done with the ferocity and the the gravitas of Mel Gibson as
Yeah.
William Wallace in this film. This film is a dude film from top to bottom. He's
Yeah.
just slashing. It's a revenge film. It's bloody. It's it's violent. It's good. The pacing is fantastic. You get man tears at the end. The freaking soundtrack is incredible. Cinematography is incredible. Five Oscars on this one, by the way. And that's why it comes in at four because I just used
Mhm.
adjectives to discuss it. It's
Yeah.
like, are, do you not want to watch Braveheart?
Are you not down to chill and watch Braveheart? You're crazy. Get some Guinness. You tripping. We watching Braveheart tonight, dog. You know what I'm
Dude,
saying?
um, yeah, another long film, but it
Yeah.
is one I did see in the theater. It is one that does stay with me. It is one on this list that it is probably the one I haven't seen in the longest, just because Mel Gibson's kind of an a-hole. Is
It's
an
hard to
a-hole,
watch stuff
pardon
like
me.
that. Yeah, it sucks. Like,
Same.
wash. My favorite movie of all time was The Usual Suspects.
Oh,
I
yeah,
absolutely best screenplay.
yeah.
I absolutely love that movie, but the problem is it was directed by creepo Bryan Singer and stars creepo Kevin Spacey. So it's like I can't go around telling people, "Hey, my favorite movie is The Usual Suspects." Like, what the hell's wrong with you?
How
So it's like it sucks. It's still in my
sucks.
heart, you know?
It sucks. And so, for our list, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna leave all of that out of it as we do
Yeah,
here on the
perfect.
M Nerdiverse, and we
Yeah.
talk about the creative side of things. And so, for me, this is a number four pick because it's the first epic film. As you can see, you got
Yeah.
Amadeus, and then we move from Amadeus straight up to freaking Braveheart. So it's just one of those epicness in its in its spectacularness, especially on the big screen, and one that I can go back and watch
1995,
at
man.
any time. And it is a great revenge film now that I think about it. I never really considered it a revenge film until I said that, but William Wallace is not happy. He's not a
It's,
happy dude in
now he
this.
has things to do. He's a desperate
Yeah,
man. He has
yeah.
things to do. Not since Ben-Hur
Mm.
that I can think of as an epic spectacle as Braveheart. It's like kind of like Hollywood steered away from it for a very, very, very the big epics. You know what I'm saying? The Charlton Heston, John Wayne epics. They just stopped making them for like 2 decades.
Chariots of Fire is on this list. I mean, that
Yeah.
was one of them. And this also was pre CGI. So when we're
Yes.
looking at all of that, that is not like another
It's
movie
on
on one of
set,
my
bro.
lists. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
on set.
Uh, I remember the one thing that stuck with me about this movie is I love the trailer. You see them they lob the great sword in the air and it gets stuck in the ground and it's so epic. You know what I mean? Mel Gibson. I've always been a big Mel Gibson head. You know what I mean? Unfortunate before the unfortunateness. Lethal Weapon, man. I mean, of course, Braveheart. And seeing this as a kid, I didn't know anything about like you know, Scottish lore. You know what I mean? You just know, yellow diamonds and green clovers, right? You didn't know that they were actually thugging it, back in the day. So when watching this, it reminded me a lot of like Robin Hood, like the Kevin Costner, Prince of Thieves, which is another one of my favorite movies. So I was like, oh, okay, and I was not ready to watch this man literally give his life for the cause, for the vibes, Doug. And as a kid, it was too heavy. It was like you can kind of see where his head was for Passion of the Christ in this movie, because it doesn't kind of pull away. You know what I mean? This movie kind of locks you into even the gruesome moments. Um, especially at the very end. It's like, geez, we're watching this, aren't we? So that part kind of tickled my monster kid horror brain because it was gory. Um, and I just overall just dug the heroism of William Wallace and just the almost like Joan of Arc level dedication to the cause of revenge. You can't really fault a man who's really willing to die for his vengeance, and he's won no matter what happens. And that was kind of the takeaway that I took as a kid was even in death you can be victorious because he won. No matter what he won, and that's a big thing to tell a young man who's trying to find his way in the world. It's like, hey, even when you lose, you can win. So I really appreciate this movie. This is one of those hard cuts. Absolutely.
I'm glad that you brought up the whole Scottish thing, and also I want to say that Expedition Unknown may have did a William Wallace episode.
Hmm,
They may
I
have
need to
done
dive
one.
more
So
into
yeah,
those.
you need to check that out because I think it is there and it's awesome. I
Mhm.
felt bad because it's like, yeah, Brian, you got nothing American over here, bro. For you're bringing the
Ah,
Scottish, and it's like, well, Glory isn't on the list, bro.
hey,
I don't
watch.
know. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know what you want me to do, bro.
What you
Glory
want me
isn't
to
on the
do?
list, so
Want me
so
to
it,
lie, dog?
it's gonna be the Scottish guy. So
Just put
don't
Gone with
come
the
at
Wind on
me.
there for the
Don't,
low,
don't don't yell
bro.
at me. Yeah, no, I can't stand Gone with
Can't
the Wind. That's one of
can't do
those
it,
movies.
bro.
It's like I just don't get. It's like great. All right, if you
I
say
have no
so,
idea
man.
what that movie's about. I just know
Can I
it's
have a
about like
three and
the
a half
South.
hours look back?
Nah. Those it's theirs, dog.
There you go. It's just the South, 3.5 hours.
It's
So
the South, you know?
Um, I do like the historical element of this movie. Not that it went down this way, but I do like the fact that we are fighting over like land, country land, and that's one of the big things. Like when you're in your bed sleeping with your wife, and actually that may be another one. But when you're in your bed, what would you say to come back to this moment to tell your these people what you really think? And as an elder gentleman these stage, not old, but getting up there, it's like,
Yeah.
nah, man, there are some things that I would like to say back to that boss when I was 23 years old because it was
Oh, yeah.
wrong. It
It
was
was wrong.
wrong, bro.
I
It
was
was
wronged.
wrong.
I was
Like,
wronged.
so,
Like,
um,
I want my
yeah,
revenge. Uh,
I want my
you know,
statement.
woulda, coulda, shoulda, huh?
Yeah.
Gotta love life, man. Great choice. Great. I was this close to putting this on here, bro, but
Ooh,
hard
good.
cuts. Hard cuts. I love this movie. It just reminds me of a simpler 1995 time when there were when a blockbuster was a blockbuster, bro. You know what I'm saying? And this was a blockbuster. Rarely that swept the Oscars. It is like, how often does that happen? It very rarely happens.
Actually, before you go, as we're thinking, is there a blockbuster on that list in the last decade? Like a blockbuster, a summer blockbuster that you remember? Like
No.
nothing stands out to me. Like, you
Like
got
a
your
block,
indie film,
like a
but like a
billion dollar. Well,
blockbuster.
the last 10 years have been Marvel Central. There's only movies that are really making $1 billion, right?
Damn,
So it's like, a Marvel movie will never win Best Picture
damn.
ever. I'm saying that now because it's already. If it was going to, it would have already done it.
Well, valid. Maybe a DC will.
Maybe a DC will. Maybe there'll be some
Eh,
kind of Batman movie that breaks.
I mean, the
Dark
vampire
Knight
people
almost did
didn't
it.
do bad. Yeah, but that
Dark
was a
Knight almost
great
did it.
freaking movie, bro. Ah, that was a great
Hmm.
movie.
I was like, is a Batman movie going to win an Oscar? No effing way, right?
Yeah, we were all tuned into the Oscars that year.
Yeah, I was like,
We were like, yeah.
I had my hat on and my little toy and everything. Dog. I was ready to rock and roll. Nope, was like we said earlier, Steve, somebody's got to lose, Doug. Somebody's got to lose. Number four. Ready for my number four? Let's see if you're
Yes, sir.
surprised. Let's see if this one surprises you. The
Ooh.
Departed. The Departed. The Departed. Oh man, my number four. Undercover cop and a mole in the police attempt to identify each other while infiltrating an Irish gang in South Boston. I It's another part of me that just people don't know is that I love mob movies. I love crime
Yeah.
movies. I love Goodfellas and Casino, and The Town was so good. And The Departed was a movie that really stole my imagination. It's very rare for movies like this to immerse you. Like, okay, I'm watching a movie, but now after a while, you're just in it with Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I'm saying? You're in it with Matt Damon. And I love a good like who done it, right? Or like who's the rat, right? And this entire film, it bounces between three or four different people, five or six different people. And every single performance in this movie is ironclad, dude. This was one of Jack Nicholson's last starring roles before he retired, and he's really just giving a tour de force acting 101 in this film. And I love every second of the tense pre-Breaking Bad levels of like tension of like
Mm.
is you know is Leo going to be? Is he going to be found out in this one? Is he going to be found out in this moment? Crap! It's just as a kid in 2006, I just wasn't prepared for that kind of tension. The script is as absolutely amazing. And the end is just perfect. How often do these movies not end perfectly? This has a perfect, pitch perfect ending, and you're like, crap, really crap. Like, okay, this is the most realistic thing that could possibly happen. And then you get to the very end with Mark Wahlberg with freaking so creepy, right? With freaking plastic on his shoes and he has to he's twisting the silencer. It's like, holy shnikes, dude. You're a TV dinner, man. You are wrapped up. But yeah, I absolutely love The Departed. Another island movie, another I could if this is on like you mentioned it earlier, this is on CBS at
Hmm.
2:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday. it doesn't matter where it is in the movie, I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Mark Wahlberg's gonna come in there, "How about you go fuck yourself?" You know what I mean? Treat them like mushrooms, feed them shit, and keep them in a dock, you know what I'm saying? Like, love this movie. Everything about it is so charming. It's so charmingly evil. I just oh,
Ooh.
man, it's so effing so many quotable moments. Oh, so good.
Freaking Scorsese.
Is this his first?
Yeah, no, no, this is not his first.
I think it's his
This might have
first.
been. Yeah, this might have been his
Best
first.
Picture?
Yeah,
This
this.
was his first Best
No,
Picture.
not no,
I mean, was it
no.
God it wasn't
Yeah,
Goodfellas? It
I'll,
wasn't
I'll have to look
Casino?
that up another time. At any rate,
Yeah.
Scorsese. Now that I can say his name, like, yeah.
Martin Scorsese,
Um,
bro. Yeah.
I big fan of the Departed, man. In fact, it is a movie that I want to go back and watch because I
Yeah.
have seen this movie exactly one
Oh,
time.
it's so
And
effing
what I
good, bro.
remember about it is I really liked Mark Wahlberg in it. I remember
Yes.
being blown away by Mark Wahlberg. This was right when he was starting to being taken as a serious actor, and he had
Mhm.
moved on from
Yep.
his younger stuff, and I was like, Mark Wahlberg being serious? I don't believe it. And I remember watching it going, oh shit, nah,
Was this
this is
pre
really
or
good.
post Boogie Nights?
This is
This was
post Boogie Nights.
got it.
This is
Right, right, right.
post Boogie Nights.
Okay.
Boogie Nights is 2002, 2001. The
Yeah, he was
good
just being taken
times, somewhere up
seriously.
in there. Yeah, he was just being taken seriously. So, great mob movie. I do want to go back and watch this. It's one of the reasons it did not make my list is I have only seen it one time, and thus I was like, man, I don't even remember it well enough to put it there. I just remember that I
Oh.
liked it. I just remembered that I liked it, and I've really been floating around this random select thing and for this year, and it's like maybe we should just do mob movies, man.
Crime
Like
movies, dude.
crime movies, like that'd be
Yeah.
cool. That'd
That'd
be
be
cool.
cool.
But then, yeah, think about it. But yeah, I love The Departed. Great pick. It did win quite a few Oscars. I remember when it
It
came
kinda
out.
swept the Oscars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It
Uh,
was a darling. No one saw it coming.
yeah, and those are the best, man. Like, I'm telling you, watching this, I didn't this kind of, like, began that love. It kind of it reminds you, like, grow up watching Goodfellas. It's, like, on all the time. Soundtrack's amazing, you know what I mean? And it's just one of those things where it's like, "This is so good, I need to watch it again to see if I can catch everything." It's one
Do
of those
they
where you have to watch
have
it a couple times.
an epic car chase in The Departed? Is there
I
an
wanna
epic
say
car chase
yes.
somewhere in here?
I wanna say yes. It's not like Italian job levels of,
No.
like, car 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 jujitsu or anything, but I
But
think there is,
there
like, a
was one.
basic there was at least one. I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
what I'm saying? I believe so. I quote this movie all the time. I say, "You see my hands? They never shake. I don't rattle." You know what I'm saying? My hands stay steady no matter what. And you know what I mean? Are they they're gonna go pinch this guy, and one of the enforcers is throwing firecrackers outside of the door just so that people don't hear the gunshot. He's like, "Holy shit, is Paulie outside?" He's like, "Focus on me, bro. Where's the money?" It's so cool. Just like cool gangster moments, bro. Um,
Also a longer movie. Also, I wanna say
yes,
3-hour runtime on this
three
because people
plus.
were like, "What the hell? Why is this movie so long?" It's good,
Felt like
though.
90 minutes, bro. Felt like 90 minutes. It just goes and goes.
Yeah.
Once it starts, it just doesn't stop. And you're pushing your heart back down your throat the entire movie until it's over. You're like, God, that was so much fun.
Yeah, I do remember the first few scenes, it was a tad bit slow, and then once it picked up, it's like you were on you're like, "Oh, I'm locked in now. I'm locked
Yeah,
in now." A
I'm locked
lot of
in now.
Leo's films are kinda like that now that I think
Yeah.
about it. Catch Me If You Can,
Catch me if you
another
can.
film that is also very much like once it gets started, it's like, "Damn, I'm in."
Picks up, picks
Revenant,
up, picks
same
up.
damn thing.
Thank you for making that point because this was the movie that got me on board with Leo. I wasn't really
Ooh.
on board with Leo. I wasn't a Titanic guy outside of Celine Dion and My Heart Will Go On. So I was like, "Oh, what's the big deal with Leo? I don't really get it." Until I saw this, like, "Oh, this guy's acting his ass off. Got it." You know what I mean? Like this guy's going all out. And that's when I started to appreciate the, especially when you start clicking up with Nolan, and doing like,
Oh, yeah.
doing the Christopher Nolan stuff and freaking dang, the name of the dream movie escapes me. Inception. I was like, okay,
Inception.
this guy's a beast, you know. So this was the movie that introduced me to Leo, to why, oh, this is why this is the golden kid of Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? This guy actually puts in the work, you know.
Romeo and Juliet. Shout out to an ex-girlfriend I had back in the day
Oh,
that was a big
freaking
fan.
hell.
Dude, I honest to God, that is still one of the coolest versions of like a Shakespearean thing they've ever made.
I
Like
just
they pull
quoted
out
that
the
the other
guns,
day.
bro, and it's
It's
like
like the
it's
dad
so
is like,
fucking cool.
"Give me my long sword." It is just like this giant cannon in the limo. Like, this is so cool. Why are
Yeah,
they doing this? This is so cool.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
they'll never do it again though. It's too original.
No.
Wasn't
So
John
just shout out.
Leguizamo in that movie?
Maybe.
Jeez, I gotta watch. That's another one I gotta watch
Maybe.
again, bro.
Maybe.
Jeez.
Maybe. I could own every movie on here that we've
Easy,
discussed
a
so
thousand
far.
percent. I probably
So,
have half these movies just in my little
okay.
DVD collection somewhere. That's how close we are to our decisions. Number three. We're on number three now. This was crazy. 2003. Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. I mean, Wash. I mean, the
Look.
best fantasy film ever made, probably
Ah, I mean,
ever
Star
made.
Wars isn't on this list, so
That's
I mean,
you know
I
what's
don't know.
funny?
It's sci-fi, fantasy. I don't know where you want to put it, but
Exactly.
go ahead.
I consider Star Wars science fiction.
Okay.
This is
All
like
right.
there's nothing science about this, dog. They're walking ints in their freaking
Valid.
giant falcons and shit. Dog. This
Valid.
is
Ring,
this is just a D
ring
and
in
D
the mountain.
campaign.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, giant eyes of
Fantasy.
Mordor. Why?
Fantasy.
Why is this your number three, bro?
This is my number three because I couldn't leave it off, and it had no other spot to go. It couldn't go
Mm,
number one. It couldn't go number two. It certainly isn't a five, and it's not a four. And I
yeah,
wasn't going to leave it off. Here's the problem with this movie. This movie I have seen three times.
yeah. In
I
life,
own,
right?
I own probably no joke, four copies of this
Mm-hmm.
series in my
Same here.
bedroom.
Same here.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
here's the problem. I want to watch Lord of the Rings. This is a great freaking film, but you can't just go watch Return of the King, right?
Mm-mm. You gotta
Because you
watch
have
all of
to
them.
watch the first two.
Yeah.
And thus it takes 12 hours of your life to watch Lord of the Rings. And that's a commitment that I want to do, but I just haven't done. So that said, this is a brilliantly made film in every scale of my D&D, as you say, fantasy brain nerd heart. Like
Mhm.
when he goes to the forest and raises up the demon army, and they come charging out,
The
bro.
Green Ghost Army, bro. Like,
My
stop,
mouth,
man.
epic levels of Marvel, like when Thanos is throwing the planet. Like my
Yeah.
mouth is just open, and I'm like, how am I watching this on screen? So, like the fighting is just one aspect. Everybody has seen this movie. I don't have to completely go into it, but the storytelling, the heart, the heart and acting and Frodo the where by
Frodo.
the end of
Yes,
this
Sam.
movie, we're all feeling it. We're all in this together. And I think that as an Oscar winner, if you watch all three, you're going to have a hard time telling me that there's, out of all 93 other movies, that there's like five other movies that are better than this on this
Yeah.
list, unless
Mhm.
you are not a fan of fantasy movies. If you're not a fan of fantasy movies, this is probably not for you. That said, if you were not that person, there is nothing not to like about this movie, but you have to watch all three. You can't just go watch this one, unfortunately. And that is the major downfall with this movie. So
It's
that's why it's on my list. How I
I'm
tell you.
as you're speaking, I'm thinking about A Beautiful Time in the World that was pre-MCU. This was right at the end of this overtaking of the earth, and right when Spider-Man started swinging This is right when I think Spider-Man 1 came out 2002. X-Men X-Men 2, you know, uh,
United.
United came out right around this time. And Lord of the Rings had the earth on a in a chokehold for this entire series. Peter Jackson, relatively unknown director, started out in horror, right? Watch Dead Alive for our horror geeks out there. You'll love it. And he came out of left field and possibly made the one of the best trilogies in film history. I remember I haven't felt the only other trilogy I felt this much weight going into the last film was Avengers Endgame, where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a Lion and Witch and the Wardrobe kid. I didn't read Lord of the Rings as a kid. So I didn't watch it. It wasn't on my radar until these films came out. So I didn't know what was going to happen in Return of the King. And this movie was right at the beginning of CG, where we were just getting CG, but it was all mostly practical. They spent the money. KMB, one of the best physical design teams of all time, did all the orc work, all the makeup work. Golem, I want to say, was the absolute very first full CG actor on screen ever, and that was a technical marvel. Just Golem. Um,
Yeah.
not to mention my favorite scene of the movie. Please remind me if this is in this one. Is when they go into the cave to save Frodo, and Sam has to fight Shelob,
Yeah.
the Spider Queen, and it's so tense and scary, and it's like, why? What am I watching right now? It's like a horror movie, and that's where Peter Jackson comes alive. You know what I mean? Like horror roots. The spider stings him, and you see like the venom coming out from the other side of his mouth. It's like, this is too much as for a kid. He's going to die. This movie's going to end right now. Um,
And that's at the
Lord,
front part of the film.
that's the
Like that's at the
beginning.
front part of the film, right? Like, yeah, the trial and tribulations that this puts you through, and even everybody knows Brian Star Wars Stan. If you're
Yeah,
telling me original trilogy versus the Lord of the Rings trilogy,
that's
first
a
time
fight.
through, I
That's kind of an argument. It's almost like peanut butter and jelly.
it, it- almost in its epicness, it almost wins. Just in its pure epicness. You know what I mean? We get a couple of fight scenes, we get a cool, yeah, this, that, and the other, but it's like the epicness of just one battle scene in the two towers, just the trees. Don't the trees in Return of the King.
When
The,
they show
I
up,
look at dude when I look at my trees today. That's what comes to mind, and it's like it's such an impactful movie
the
for your
return of
eyes,
Gandalf the White, bro. I
dude.
quote this movie all the time. I've always wanted Shadowfax, the Lord of all horses. He does this whistle, and Shadowfax hits the cut, bro. It is the most majestic horse you've ever seen in your life, and it's glowing. He says, "This is the Lord of all horses. None can ride faster than Shadowfax." Like Shadowfax is the coolest. That's the thing I took away from this whole film, Doug. Uh, you can't
Speaking
beat the
of Star Wars, like Ahsoka dies, we get Ahsoka the
so
Grey. Where do you think that came from, folks? That was not a Star Wars
no, that
thing.
was a J.R.R. Tolkien original.
Yeah.
I think Lord of the Rings did for fiction what Doom did. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like these are quintessential building blocks of fiction. And for somehow, some way in 2003, Peter Jackson figured out a way how to harness this and tell the perfect story. I'm not saying you don't have to read the book, but you'll be hard pressed for me not to say, "Oh, what is Lord of the Rings? Watch these three movies." You'll figure it out, and you'll be stuck. You know?
And I honestly, I'm not sure this series. And yes, this is here because this, as a whole of its accomplishment, yes, but its predecessors moves it into this position. I'm
Yeah,
not sure that it gets enough flowers here in 2026.
people have
People
forgotten
talk.
it.
It's like they have forgotten
Yeah, they've
just,
forgotten
and no
it.
one watches it because it's 12 fucking hours long. So you never
Yeah.
rewatch it. It's like, oh, I don't have half a day to kill, bro.
Remember at the end when you had to pee and the movie ended 7 different times?
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, I can't miss a second. I'm gonna go. Okay, the movie's over. I'm gonna get up. No, Frodo's in bed. Okay, I'm gonna get up. No, like prologue, 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 and I'm like, I love this movie. I love you, but please stop.
And
Just
they were
stop. I gotta
long cuts. They were
long
long cuts
cuts.
with like black screens and just music, and then it come back on, and you're like,
Damn, God. Like I'm about to just straight drop trowel in this theater because I'm not missing a second. This is the last movie, dog. They're not making it anymore. Funny enough, here comes The Hobbit, and here comes all that stuff later down the road.
ooh,
But this getting winning Best Picture is so insane. This is like you said, this is like Star Wars winning Best Picture. This is like we mentioned it. Like this is like The Dark Knight winning Best Picture. This is not an original. This is like the end of a trilogy. How often does that happen?
these days, not very often because
That's
they just
crazy.
continue and bring back things that were trilogies.
I
But
didn't see many
11,
sequels on the list.
no, no, there were not. There were not. There were two, to be in fact. There are one's the coming up again, and this one. But Oscar, 11 Oscars, and two up until this year when the Vampire Musical was nominated for more. This
Mm,
had the most Oscar noms and wins
Vampire
ever
music.
of all times.
You're
Vampire
such a,
Musical.
the vampire musical, man. We could gush about this forever, but my last thing else I'll say is that not many movies nowadays, use all parts of the buffalo, and you'll love to see it, and that kind of leans into my number two pick, or my number three rather, my number three pick, using all parts of the buffalo. Like this is what filmmaking's all about. You know what I mean? So with that, are you ready to hear what my number three is?
I'm very interested.
You everywhere, everything, everywhere, all at once. 2022 is my number three best picture of all time. Watch our full review. I don't we went into a nauseum about this movie, but Wash, much like with you and Mario, I'm still here. This movie has not let me go since I've watched it. I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking of action scenes. I keep thinking of the approach. I keep thinking of the storytelling. I keep thinking of the screenplay. It, this is one of those movies which is like, put this in a film class. This is movie making 101, bro. Like best picture as a total, like all commemorative. Everybody gets their flowers thing. I've yet to find a flaw in this movie, bro. Like I absolutely love it. I can't. I haven't stopped thinking of it. I can't leave it. I won't. It's it's
I
what
don't even know what to say. I am floored. I am so excited that the Nerdiverse literally brought you something that
I
is
would have never watched it.
that you we had not you know what I mean? It wasn't on our things to do
Was
list. Like we
yeah.
neither one of us were gonna watch it, and now it is your number three best.
Oscar picture, sure. Oscar winner.
Like that's huge, man. That's huge, and it's a fantastic film. I'm not gonna argue it one
It's
bit about it. I'm
you know what?
floored. That's awesome.
For what it did it the best of anyone ever. I can't say that. I'm not saying that. That's no hyperbole. This is the best multiversal science fiction film I've ever seen. To be specific, multiversal science fiction film. And it tackles such a granular but also macro concept, squeezes it into a pillbox budget, and gives you the best, thorough, clean explanation of how this works, bigger than any big budget uh, industry uh, titan, and it explains it in a funny, action-packed, dramatic, loving way that just never lets you rest. This is a fun movie. You go back to, okay, would I watch this movie again? I just don't. I'm listening to the soundtrack. I'm thinking about Michelle
Oh,
Yeoh and getting her flowers. I'm thinking about Jamie Lee Curtis, and I just can't stop thinking about just the idea of it and the technical effort that went into making this movie with really no money, bro. Like this is the dream. This is what you dream about when you want to be a filmmaker. Can
a
I make
pack of
something
bubble gum, bro.
yeah, but in a dream, bro.
like,
You know,
like, yeah.
a freaking
I,
yeah.
I like the fact that they didn't beat you over the head with it. when you
No,
talk about
it's
the
so
premise, they
subtle.
didn't beat you over the head with any of it as we see today. I mean, we just saw a trailer that's beating you over the head with the multiversal stuff, and it's like this didn't do any
Doesn't
of
have
that,
to
and I
do
got
that.
it. It didn't even effortless in its execution.
Effortless in its
Yeah,
execution.
yeah,
Uh
special.
Beautiful in its presentation. Thought provoking in its message.
Yeah,
And it's just
it's
it
awesome.
it just keeps opening different doors in my brain to what's possible. You know what I mean? Would $1 billion ruin a screenplay like this? Maybe. Maybe you need some of that grind. Maybe you need some of that can do attitude to not CG the fights, to actually get stunt choreography and save a little bit money. Maybe having two sets is just enough. Maybe we don't need to jump all around the multiverse to make our point. We don't. We can keep it we can keep it
Tight.
concise and tight into this screenplay that just celebrates itself with every word. I can't get enough of this movie. I've been gushing about it since I've watched it.
That's fantastic. I'm stoked to hear that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't want to
And
get
go
to it
watch
because
our
we
review,
go
folks.
watch our review. I don't want to get too
Go watch our
crazy.
reviews.
But I gave it like a 4. I think I gave it a 5 out of 5, something
You gave it five.
crazy.
Yeah, you gave it five. You gave it five. I
Yeah.
gave it four.
Oh Jesus. Ready to get into your number 2, my man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Number 2, 2, 2. I'm gonna sing the music, but I don't know it because I've never watched this movie.
Okay.
19,
And this
19,
the yeah.
1972. I mean, it's The Godfather, bro. I
Look, you just
mean,
got done gushing over mob movies and you have not watched The Godfather. You
it's
need
one
to
of
remedy
those,
this
bro.
immediately.
I know, I know, I know, I
Immediately,
know.
you need to remedy this. This is like a priority thing that needs to be done before the end of the year. Like, this
Before
is
the end
the
of the
freaking
night, bro.
Godfather, bro. Um, why is this on my list at number two? Um, I almost made it one, and I
I'm
went back
surprised
and
you
forth.
didn't.
I went, trust me, I went back and forth, and the reason it's not one is because there is conversation for Godfather 2 to be on this list. I did not
Yeah.
ultimately put that on this list simply because when I was younger, Godfather 2 was the cooler movie. Like, it was just the cooler movie. It spanned the time frames. Like, we're seeing Al Pacino as freaking Michael Corleone, really doing the thing, running the business, things of that nature. But as I've become older, I reflect on The Godfather and everything
Mm.
that this just started, and just the iconic scenes. We talked about it during our top 10 non-Christmas films,
Yeah.
where The
1,000%.
Godfather was also featured.
Watch that episode as
Watch that.
well.
Watch that. So many epic scenes. And when I was thinking about it, the end scene of this, when Michael has now taken over as the Godfather, and his wife is like, "Oh, we okay?" And he's like, "Yes, honey, I'm fine. Everything's great. We don't. Everything's above board." And she walks away, and then she turns around and she sees the freaking captains coming in, and they're kissing the ring, and the
It's like,
door
oh
closes, and it's like
man,
it's just the
it's not
beginning
okay.
of
Yeah.
something, bro. So it like
Yeah.
just the journey that this movie takes you on from his father to him to Michael taking over the reins is what kind of propelled this up for me. Because as you know, it's it's much more tight. It's tighter than number two is, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And so this got moved up, even though I wasn't sure I was going to do that. But after I had to go back and reflect on two, which I also have not seen in a while, also in my personal collection,
Yeah.
The
What I
Godfather special editions. Let's
It's
go.
you think of movies like Godfather, and it's been parodied so much, you know what I mean? Because it's so iconic, you know? And when I think of The Godfather, I think of movies like The Omen, you know what I mean? Like the iconography of it. And like when I see that picture, it reminds me of The Omen for some weird reason. And I think mostly because this is one of those films that as a kid I just wasn't allowed to watch. Well, that'll kind of go into my number two.
Mm.
But I just remember this being too mature for me when I was little. You know what I mean? Like Goodfellas was kind of upbeat, was kind of like, Samuel Jackson and, animated as Joe Pesci and stuff like that. This seemed like it was serious. Like business is being conducted, and there's nothing. It almost felt dry to me when I was a kid. Even watching The Untouchables with Elliot Ness and freaking Al Capone, bro,
Oh,
which is
Kevin
another
Costner.
one. Ke Kevin Costner. Yes, Kevin
Yeah,
Costner and, Robert De Niro as
great
Capone.
movie.
A great movie. But even this felt too mature. It felt like I was like, "Ooh, I'm not old enough to watch this." You know what I'm saying? This is there's no fun to be had. Like, no, this is serious drama
This
business,
a-
you know?
and there is acting happening in this movie. There
Acting.
is acting and there is a script. God, you know, sorry, I just have to look this up to make sure. Coppola. I was getting
Francis Ford
Scorsese
Coppola,
and
bro.
Coppola like mixed up
Yeah,
in my brain, and I was like, why do I keep wanting to say Scorsese?
yeah,
Coppola is the real deal, and so
yeah.
it's
Oh,
also a
yeah.
great book. Also a fantastic book, but Mike, I'm pleading with you
Yeah,
as a person
yeah.
who when was the last time I pleaded? I pleaded with you on something. Oh, Bad Batch.
You
I
pleaded with me on
pleaded
Bad
with you.
Batch,
I
and you were
pleaded
right,
with you on Bad
right.
Batch. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, please. Like,
Just
if
take
you
the
were a
damn time
mob
and watch it.
movie guy, you were gonna
It's
watch The
yeah.
Godfather and come away. And yes, even as adult Mike, you're gonna be like, yeah, it's a more serious acting type of movie. But the content, the gravitas of part one and two, take your flowers on three or not, whatever. I like it. Dude, it's hard to beat. And everything that has been made since stands on the shoulders, and there's a
Yeah.
reason for it. And the wedding scene in the beginning is
Oh,
one of
yeah.
my all-time
Even I know
favorite
that. Yeah.
scenes of a film when they're coming into them. But my father brought us to this country. I grew up in this country. I love this country. And he's talking to the Don. Oh, it's so damn good. It's a movie that I have literally watched on repeat 100 times and just
I
like
believe it.
been asleep and just that's on repeat in the DVD player. So that's number two.
Man, nothing and this is probably my biggest blind spot in the nerdiverse, you know what I'm saying? Because it's really a building block film. We were just talking about um certain films that are just like other films don't exist if this doesn't exist type
Hmm.
type thing. And The Godfather is just undeniable, right? It's just I mean, it's The Godfather, man. It's just one of the best movies ever made. So yeah, very strong number 2. Ready for my number 2?
I am.
Ready for my number 2?
I
Number
am.
2, 2, 2. Well, well, horror had to make it out here somewhere, right? And horror doesn't get a lot of love from our boys over at John Oscar. John Oscar doesn't really give horror that many flowers in the 100 years that they've been doing this. But one film that stands above them all, and it is one of those films that almost feels like it's educational in a weird way of how specific it is 1991's The Silence of the Lambs. So my history with this film is this was one of the big 3 films Mama Mike G would not let me watch. Can't watch it.
Mm.
It's up there with The Exorcist. Inside is a little. This will jack you up. You're too little. You can watch horror movies fine. It's all gooey and gores. No, this would I don't want to warp my child, right? So what did I do? I went to our local bookstore and I saved up my little Mikey money and I bought the book. I read Silence of the Lambs before I saw the movie because it's just one of those. You're not going to watch this while you're in my house, so I didn't watch this till later in life, right? But I always loved it. I got in trouble at school because I was in the third grade reading Silence of the Lambs. in
Yeah.
class, like it was just no big deal. Teacher walks by, what the hell are you reading? Silence of the Lambs. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to be reading that. Take it. You will take this out of my cold dead fingers, Mrs. Whoever. They had a parent teacher conference, and my mom. This is one of the coolest. May God rest her soul. One of the coolest moments of my life is when my mom went to the parent teacher conference, and the teacher's like, "I don't think your son should be reading this." And she asks, "Okay, Miss So and So, what reading level do you have to be to comprehend this book?" I was about like a maybe like a 12th grade, 11th grade reading level. So you're telling me that my third grade son is reading at a 12th grade reading level? And she's like, yeah, I think that's pretty beautiful. I think that's awesome. Let him read his damn book if he enjoys it. And we walked out, and my mom was like, man, she was a bitch. You want to go get pizza and see a movie? Yeah. So,
Awesome.
you know, so my mom just like, it
Awesome.
totally let me, she wouldn't let me watch it, but she would let me like, in, indulge my horror, like love for horror in different ways. So this holds a special, special, special place in my heart. Now let's talk about the movie. Uh, this is the best one. This is one of those thrillers that you just kind of don't know where it's gonna go, and by the end of the movie, you literally can't breathe. You know what I mean? It strips you of your expectation. Young FBI cadet Clarice Starling is um, is kind of on the case for this terrible serial killer called Buffalo Bill. And she has to enlist the help of the enigmatic, charming, but also sadistic and disgusting Hannibal Lecter. And it's this beautiful game of cat and mouse between how much are you willing to sacrifice of yourself to get what you want. And you see this tug of war between Clarice Starling and her morals. How much am I going to give Hannibal to get what I need to catch this killer? Because I can't figure this out on my own. I need his help, unfortunately. And this movie is so cold and so dry and so real that it's almost beyond horror. It's like real horror. You know what I mean? Like this could happen to somebody. There's always a difference between, oh, I'm not worried about Freddy Krueger. He's not real. There's a Buffalo Bill out there, sadly, right now, who's asking girls if they're a size 14. So it's a different level of terror that this is offering you. And this movie is so pitch perfect that it swept the Oscars. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, I don't like horror," but they'll love Silence of the
Hmm.
Lambs. You know what I mean? This is a horror movie that people who think they're above horror will love and watch. So, yes, this is my number 2.
I think it's interesting that you called it a horror movie. I always considered it more of a thriller movie than a horror movie.
It's
So,
funny.
yeah, I've never heard it really mentioned in that
Okay.
aspect. So, go on.
What would you consider Ridley Scott's Alien?
First one, horror.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
this is one of those movies. A lot of people think Alien is a science fiction movie first and foremost. And it's not science fiction. It's gothic horror, right? You have to look at it through a certain lens. In this movie, Buffalo Bill is not human in a way. He is transformative. He is a creature almost. When he does the little dance and he's in the mirror and it's just like no human moves like that, bro, on earth. That was some transformative. This guy is not real, right? It starts to drip into horror movies. There's even moments where Clarice Starling's going to go meet Hannibal Lecter, and the guy throws his fun junk at her, and she freaks out and gets mad. I'm like, that was a jump scare. I'm sorry to tell you, that was a horror movie jump
I
scare because
mean,
I would have freaked the f out. Someone would have to
yeah,
die that day. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
not
I would
looking
be in
for
a
that
cell.
action.
You
Not
know,
looking for that.
and that's the only reason Hannibal helps her because he felt bad because homeboy was being so freaking gross and dumb. So yeah, I consider this horror. I consider this like almost like psychological horror. It's a crazy scene. I'm sorry to be the break you on that. That's just what it's a crazy ass scene.
What would you say? Jump?
Yeah, yeah, fun. He was like smoke, bro. The fuck? Why is this in the movie? But hey, that's the catalyst that gets everything started because he was going to dismiss her like, get this kid out of here, right? He felt bad for her, so he threw her a bone. And that's how everything started. Movie's a trip, dog. But I know because I put this list together. So I know you kind of want to, yeah, I don't know. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
flip over.
You know what? Let's just do it. Flip over.
Flip
Because guess
over.
what? Silence of the Lambs, number one. Your
Yeah, Nerdiverse.
number one film. Why are we so in league with each the brains,
Bro,
bro?
like there's 90 films. How could we be so close to each other? Because you had no idea that this is going on my
No.
number one.
And I
Zero.
refuse to take it off mine. I refuse.
I
This
do.
is it's my number two, bro.
I've never even really mentioned it before. The
Yeah.
reason I love another film that I've watched on repeat multiple times. Some fun fact you don't know about me. I used to want to be in the FBI and CIA.
That's
This is one of the
dope.
reasons I wanted to
Yeah.
do.
Clarice
When I
Starling, bro.
saw this
What the hell?
first movie, I was like, this is what FBI agents do? I was at that
Sign me
age,
up.
91, so I was like a freshman in high school or going into eighth grade, somewhere up in there. And it's like, oh, well, this looks cool. So I was captivated by the content
Yeah.
of Silence of the Lambs. And as an adult, Brian, I am still captivated by the content of Silence of the Lambs. This movie is demented. It's wrong. It's
Yeah.
like,
It's
damn,
wrong.
this is real. And like this happened. I'm sure we can go find a case file where not even five or six. We can find two case files that'll probably wrap this whole thing up in real life. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And they
100%.
made it into a movie and it was grounded and it was in your face and it was tense and it was scary because you're seeing it through the young eyes of of young Clarice Starling who doesn't really know what they're doing and is a rookie. So that's how the film is shot. So you're one step behind pretty much the whole time, trying to keep pace. But Anthony Hopkins is master classing it, master freaking
Yeah.
classing it.
Chef's kiss, bro.
Damn it. Yeah. I don't know what your number one is, but Anthony Hopkins, Dustin Hoffman, that was a toss up for me. At any
Yeah.
rate, he masterclassing it in this and it stuck with me. This movie I do own. This is a movie I can watch at any given
Point.
moment in time. And from the moment we open up in the woods in Virginia and Clarice is running,
The
pardon
world
me,
is blue and gray, and you're just
you're
immersing.
in.
You can tell she's the underdog. She gets into the elevator, and she's this little, unassuming lady, and there's these all big giant FBI bros in there with her, and you can tell she's one step behind. You know what I mean? You can feel her desperation to be better.
And
Immediately,
it's
they set that.
such a good story. Like it's
Yeah.
such a good crime story. Everything about it, like having to meet Hannibal Lecter, like dealing with serial killers, because serial killers were around in the 90s, but 90s is when they were really starting to be talked about and thrown on television and put in the movies
Unsolved
and
mysteries and
things
all that
that
crazy stuff. Yeah.
correct. Like there was a time back in the day I would have loved the ID channel. I can't listen to it now. I listen to 5 minutes of the ID channel that's
Getting
at my
nightmares,
house,
bro.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you listening to
Yeah.
this? Is
Why
there
you
are there no other words you can
you
listen to?
put in your brain when you sleep?
Right. So
Crazy, bro.
now not so much. That said, this movie runs that line to where it's all palatable in a sense to where you're not turned off by it. And there is such a masterclass of acting happening throughout the entire cast that it keeps you going. And there is no real big set pieces. There's not a ton of explosions. In fact, I want to say
No,
there's
it's
like
very
two
subtle.
action scenes in the entire thing.
Mhm.
Like,
But
and
the
that's
tension never stops.
yeah, tension never stops. The building never stops. The discovery never stops. And no matter how many times you watch it, you feel that each time. And I guess that's why it was an Oscar sweep. I guess that makes sense that this was
Yeah.
an Oscar sweep.
I talk about my favorite Oscar category is best screenplay because that's the brain. That's almost like the circulatory system of a movie. That's the through line of it all. How does this make sense? And the movie tricks you into believing that Hannibal Lecter is a good guy. He's your friend. He's so nice and charming, and he treats Clarice Starling well. But you forget that he's, if not worse than Buffalo Bill, This guy he's in there for a reason, but he lulls you into a false sense of security until the very end of the movie where he's eating someone's face off and spraying mace in their face and escaping. You know what I mean? Like he is a monster. One of my favorite
It,
quotes in this movie is like, um, you know, yeah, Hannibal tried to escape once. A nurse dropped her guard for a split second, and he ripped open her throat, and his heartbeat never got over 35.
yeah.
He's just so on it. Like you cannot drop your guard around this man for a millisecond because he will take advantage of it and seize these. And that is a predator. You know.
I mean, Hannibal Lecter, one of the we've never done like a top villain, but what
I
he
mean,
would have to be on the list. Like nobody's trying
well,
to mess with Hannibal Lecter's smoke. You know what I
I
mean?
I
Like,
put him up there with Freddy,
yeah,
Jason, Pinhead,
yeah.
Leatherface. You know what I'm saying? He is a horror icon.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
if
saying.
if Pinhead were to meet Hannibal, Pinhead would look at Hannibal and be like, "Oh,
You're kind of
huh,
chill.
you're interesting.
Yeah, can we
You're
talk?
different."
Yeah.
Hannibal's like, maybe.
Hannibal say something and Pinhead will be like, "Go on," and then they just maybe become friends, bro.
Go back to
Like,
this.
and I love the juxtaposition between Hannibal and Buffalo Bill. That these are creatures from the same cloth. They just operate a little differently, which makes them
Terrifying.
different. It makes them just as they're both just as lethal, but Hannibal is approaching it from such a different direction that it blindsides you. Where Buffalo Bill is so animalistic and just so like id prone that he can't control himself. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy.
When
You
I
know?
see one of those small little conversion fans, I think Buffalo Bill or the Libyans.
Oh
I'm
god.
sorry. It
Ugh.
just is what it is.
Yeah,
If I
yeah,
see you
yeah.
driving around one of those, I'm
I don't
screaming,
like it.
"It's the Libyans!"
Yeah, don't
Or
get don't,
I'm
it's
like,
the
"What's going
limit.
on? What's going on in the
Yeah, it's
back?"
the limit. It's open it. Got the
Like,
fucking Uzi in the
yeah,
back.
dude.
Dog.
Like that's what I'm thinking. So,
Hell no.
yeah, don't drive one of those vans.
First of all, aren't those are the most unsettling things on the road, isn't it? The white the white passenger van with the windows blacked out, but
How
no
is this
windows.
legal?
What the fuck is in there? I don't
Like,
want to know.
what?
I'm just gonna run this light because I don't even want to be on the same stoplight as this
No.
fool because something can jump off. I'm not cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, I was gonna say something about this film, but I forgot. Yes, but that is my number one. It
great.
got here because I can always drop it in,
Yeah,
and Clarice Hannibal Lecter, unforgettable
this
combo.
this movie helped to educate my fears. That's why it's my number two. This movie brought a different depth to my horror geekness. It made me step out. I had to get creative to enjoy this concept. I had to, so easy to watch a movie, but when mom says no. F that. I'm gonna read the 300-400 page novel of this and absorb it that way. So when I watched the movie, it was so much more impactful because I knew it inside and out. I I, I
Yeah.
read that book to the covers fell off, bro. It's just one of my favorite little things to read before Stephen King. You know what I'm saying? Like before any of the Harry Potter series. Kids were reading Harry Potter. I was reading Silence of the Lambs, bro. It's just that's the type of time I was on. But yeah, absolutely love this film. But it's not my number one. Are you curious to see what my number one is?
What's your number one?
Got to do it, man. I have to do it. Number one, 1994. Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump, bro. History of the United States from 1950s to the 70s unfold from the perspective of Alabama man with the IQ of 75. Uh, there I I don't I try not to be hyperbolic, right? I try to ground my words on this podcast because it's so easy to say, oh, this is the best thing ever. Oh, that ice cream I had the other day was the best ice cream ever. No, it wasn't. You know what I mean? You don't remember the best thing ever. But what I will say is to me, this may be a perfect film. A perfect pitch perfect film. I remember watching this as a kid with no desire to watch it. This I was forced to watch this. My dad wanted to see it for some reason. No, Mike, we're not seeing Deep Rising. We're going to watch Forrest Gump. Crap. I'd rather go to school. No. And he sat me down and watched this perfection of a movie to see Forrest Gump go through his entire life and him being pretty much at the forefront of every major U.S. event from 1950 to like 1970, all the way up into the 90s, dude. This movie makes me cry, it makes me laugh. This movie, I've had a couple Jennies in my life. Um, this movie is just, hashtag no chill. And I I love this so much. Like I this movie warms me up. This movie, the soundtrack alone speaks to who I am. Um, Forrest Gump. I'm having a hard time talking about it because I'm choking up. It's it's damn near untouchable. I mean, the Vietnam sequence, something bit me. He gets shot in the ass, bro. It- you know what I'm saying? He gets a purple heart out of fucking nowhere, dude. It's so happenstance. He's like George Costanza. You know what I'm saying? He just falls
Do you want
bass
some
awkward.
ice cream?
You want some ice cream? I
Uh,
drunk about 15 Dr. Peppers. He was in the freaking White House getting about to shake the hand of you know what I'm saying, of John F. Kennedy and shit. Like his life is so happenstance. It makes you have hope that anything could happen. And I know it's fiction. I know that Forrest Gump was not a real guy, even though honestly, back in the day, I kind of thought Forrest Gump was real. I thought this was an autobiography. There was some,
huh,
like random guy who just happened to
that would have
become
been
a
cool.
you know what I'm saying? But no, like no one's life is this crazy, right? He wipes his face on the freaking with the mud and it makes
Have a
it
nice
makes the
day.
iconic happy face, it's so stupid, but it's so perfectly shot. It's so perfectly acted. Gary Sinise as Lieutenant Dan, bro. You get to just see his transformation from his losing his legs to being completely just depressed. One of just a scene that sticks with me is they're bringing in the new year and everybody's celebrating and they're dropping the ball and graffiti's falling or just confetti's falling and he's just stone faced, man. He's just like, man, it's like I just kind of want to just be out of here, man. I felt that, man. Like, geez, this guy is just not in the moment. Forrest Gump went on the boat with Bubba on their first stripping boat extravaganza, where they're literally inside the perfect storm, and it's this perfectly shot thing. And he just comes home with 8 trillion shrimp, and now they're billionaires. It's so crazy. This movie, and it makes you feel good. Forrest Gump is such a simple character. He's not problematic, but he's too simple to be problematic. He just kind of goes with the flow. And it kind of teaches you a good life lesson. Like sometimes you don't have to overthink this stuff. Like Forrest Gump is the perfect example of don't kiss it, right? Keep it simple, stupid. You know what I mean? And Forrest Gump goes through this entire adventure where you just root for the guy the entire time. And it's not like he's winning, but he's not losing. He's just kind of existing. He reminds me of the dude from The Big Lebowski, right?
Mm.
Where it's like, I'm not trying, but I'm just killing it. And I'm not even trying. And it's not even a boastful thing. He's just not trying. He's like, it's the most like non-effort I've ever seen. Like he plays football, and the guy just happens to be the second coming of the Flash, right? And he's just perfect at football, all American. I was just running. And he just, he ran his ass out of the stadium. Iconic film moment. Um, I went to Bubblegum Shrimp when it opened in LA at the Universal City Walk for those who are LA. And I won the Bubba Gump trivia. And when they were first when the Bubba Gump Shrimp Co. first opened in LA. It just was this movie was a revelation, bro. This is probably top 3 movies of all time for me. Like I can literally watch it every day, nonstop, all day, every day. Just keep it on in the background and I'll be fine. You know what I mean? It means so much to me, this movie. This is another quintessential blockbuster. This movie did crazy in the theaters, I remember. And it was a big deal. So all that to say, Forrest Gump is probably the closest thing to a perfect movie for me. Doesn't need a sequel. We didn't need a prequel. We didn't need a book or anything. It's just a perfect start, middle, end story. And I really appreciate those now that I'm older. Just like, no, you want the beginning, middle, and end of a man's life and how great it was, or how bad it was, or how much turmoil. Watch Forrest Gump, dude. It's damn near it is perfect. I stand on that.
I know they were circling Forrest Gump 2 for a minute.
Yeah,
I
they
hope that
tried.
I hope that idea went away
I
'cause
think Tom
terribly.
shot it down. Tom was like,
Uh,
"What are you guys talking about? Get out of here!" No,
it was like, what?
what, what?
Anyway, I will say that I also love this movie. This is a movie that you can sit down, and I have sat down with anybody in any given room and sit down and watch this movie, and everybody's like
On
emotionally
board,
invested in.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's having a good time with it. I think Tom Hanks is fantastic. I mean, Tom Hanks for us is one of our national treasures that we probably don't talk about enough. Dude can
Hmm.
act his freaking ass off in pretty much
Yeah.
anything. As Forrest Gump, he does a great job. I like how effortlessly being good at everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Just effortless. It's like it's not even like boastful. He's just like, okay. It's so subtle. Like
yeah.
his performance,
I
and
did not go to Bubblegum Shrimp. It is one of the things that I never
it's
got to
super good.
do.
It's super
I
good.
went
I don't
by
know if it's like that
Bubblegum Shrimp,
now.
but like I just never went in. I was never with people, and I was like, I'm not gonna go in by myself. So yeah. Anyway, Bubblegum Shrimp, that's cool.
But
Uh,
run, Forrest, run.
I love the movie. Jenny upsets me to just the
Yeah,
nth degree
Jenny
when I
is.
watch it. It's just you. No matter how many times you watch it, you're like, dude, don't go with her. It's like, don't go in the room. Don't go
What
in
do
the
you,
room.
hey, the heart wants what the heart wants, man. But
And
he's a simple man, dude. And
yeah,
even Jenny's like, "Why do you love me, bro?" And he's just like, "Because, Doug, because." And
I
that's all he
do.
needed. I do. And that woman actively ruined his life every single time she had a chance to. You know what I mean? Because she was just all over the. He was the best of that time, and Jenny represented the worst of that time. You know what I mean? She was strung out on drugs.
It,
She was partying. She was part of the green. She was like boycotting Nam, which is not a bad thing, but she came about it kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Jenny was just a hot mess.
it is
Express.
a movie with many, many different messages in it. I think that
Hmm.
that is a valid point. You can take you can take a life lesson away from Forrest Gump. I don't know if you can take a life lesson away from Silence of the Lambs. You can take a
You
life lesson
could.
away from Forrest Gump. It's the Libyans. Like, don't
It's
get in the white van, bro. Like,
does
don't
still get
go
in white
near that thing.
vans. Lesson one
If the
ever.
windows are blacked out, don't
Yeah,
do it.
please. Yeah. Or what's worse, there's like newspaper in the windows, bro. Like,
Ah,
that's
damn. Yeah.
Jenny, man. I think about when she was like when Forrest Gump went to the Black Panther party, dude, and that he was this close to becoming a Black Panther, but they got to show restraint, and he just had to roll out because Jenny was up in there, and Jenny was like showing her ass like at the Black Panther party, like causing a scene, dog. That movie is
Sorry, I
crazy.
ruined your Black Panther party.
Sorry, I ruined your Black Panther party. She was,
Also, another movie I'd say probably doesn't get its flowers. 1994 was a long time ago. Not a lot of folks have probably even watched it because you look at the cover, there's nothing. You're like, I'm not going to watch
I'm not gonna
this.
watch that. Why would I watch
It
it now?
it looks
Right?
nothing like the cover reads. You know what I mean? It is the absolute opposite of this cover.
This
It
movie
is
is epic.
colorful. Yeah,
This movie
yeah,
is epic, bro. And it's a subtle epic. This movie
yeah.
reminds me of like Huckleberry Finn, bro. If this was a book, it would be required reading in school.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's like
on
up
it.
there, bro, with like, of Mice and Men, 1984, Charlotte's Web, Forrest Gump, bro. Like, it's like this is required reading, like because it just tells a simple story in the most complex way possible with no effort. It reminds me a lot of Everything All at Once, but the opposite. It's a simple story that's very micro, but it expands out to where you're shaking hands with the president and you're in Vietnam and you're running across America and you're doing all this fantastical things through the lens of a simpleton, quote unquote.
Of this
You know what I'm
one
saying?
person,
Of this
simpleton.
one
Yeah,
man who was more, he's so much more than anyone ever gave him credit to be.
yeah.
Live it's inspiring, bro. This movie. I can watch it. I'm probably gonna watch it soon and cry because this movie makes me cry. Hashtag hard cuts. I'm exhausted. I'm tired now, bro. That was one hell of a list. Are there any from mine that you're surprised to see? Any surprises on mine?
I was surprised Silence of the Lambs was at two. I figured it'd come in, but I didn't think number two. So out of all the films for it to come in two and my one, that is pretty surprising
Yeah,
to me.
and mind you, like I preface this all with today, right? Come see me 2 months from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 hours from now. Silence may take one, but in my moment, in my feels right now, Forrest Gump is like my favorite thing on earth, man. It was
Yeah.
Forrest Gump is so monumental. It's something like Jurassic Park as like things that shaped you when you were a kid that made you who you are. Like Forrest Gump made me humble, you know, made me approach things a little less. I overthink everything. Forrest Gump made me think, man, just go with the flow. Things happen. You'll see what
Yeah.
happens. You'll be fine. If
Yeah.
Forrest could do it, you can do it. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gump. What did he say? He's but I know what love is. He had this crazy accent. It's just a beautiful film, dude. It makes me the end with Haley Joel Osment. Now he has a son. He has to figure
Hmm.
that out, and he's the only time he shows fear is that he's afraid that his son is simple like him, and he kind of chokes up. He's like, is he like? Nah, he's brilliant. Forrest Jr. She had the nerve to name this food Forrest Jr. without
Yeah.
it's Jenny, bro. Oh my god, she knew he was a turbo millionaire. It's just like I'm gonna name my son Forrest Jr. and lock this
Yeah.
right in, dog.
Bro, bro, not a Jenny fan. She
And the way she
also.
was moving, there's a chance that kid probably wasn't even his. I'm just saying,
We don't want to
because
talk about that. We're
because
not
that
going to
kid looked
talk.
nothing like Tom
We're
Hanks,
not going to
bro.
talk about that, bro.
That
We
kid
can
caught to
talk
look
about
nothing like
that.
Tom
No,
Hanks,
we're not
dog.
going to talk about that. So,
God damn. We didn't call a spade a spade. Forrest is
mm,
too simple to be like, uh, this kid has blonde hair, blue eyes. What the hell? That's not me. I don't
too
know,
late now.
Jenna. Too late now. Dog. She's already out of here, dog. He's your son. She dropped him off. School. She airdropped him in your life.
Too late now.
He'll be fine. Everybody turned out fine, dog. Trust me. Oh, what are your feelings at the end of this best picture list?
Epic
What are
list, man. Great, great top 10 all around. Hashtag hard cuts. There's a lot of films. We can only pick five each. So I did the best I could, and I can watch any one of mine. And in fact, I will probably end up watching some Amadeus at some point in the future because it's such a great story.
me too.
Such a
Like
great story. So,
I like how eclectic our list is. We have crime thrillers, we have period pieces, we have musicals, we have thrillers, we have action films, we have blockbusters. Lord of the Rings is a blockbuster film.
yeah,
Like
man.
our list isn't it really explains a lot about our own personalities and what we really love and enjoy. Um and I see a lot of you in your list. You know what I mean? Um, Especially Amadeus, that explains a lot. You know what I mean? Like Amadeus explains a lot about
I'm
Wash,
not
and
bitter.
especially I'm not bitter. I just love the music,
I'm not bitter.
and I can totally see you in a everywhere, everything, all at once as you as a FBI agent, bro. I would have never
Yeah,
met you in my life
bro.
if you would have went to the farm. You would have
Yeah,
not came back, bro.
yeah,
You know
bro. Sent in two applications. I got an answer once. I didn't get an answer the second time.
that sounds about right. It sounds like the FBI, bro. They're like, nah, we already told you.
We
Uh,
don't repeat ourselves.
we don't repeat ourselves. Speaking of repeating ourselves, please like this content. If you want more of things from the Master of the Nerdiverse, please subscribe to the channel so you're made aware when new content goes live. And comment hard cuts. Are our number ones correct? Are our number ones wrong? What are your number one? Please let us know. We need more activity on our social media. So talk to us and we'll talk back. We're not gonna bite you hard. We'll maybe do a little bit. Um, any last thoughts before we close this bad boy out?
All good on me.
All good on me as well. Thank you, everybody. This has been Master of the Nerdiverse. I've, of course, been your host, Mike G. He's been Wash. We are the Master of the Nerdiverse. And with that, I will say MOTN out. Take care, ladies and gents.